To ABC-7 Extra, Eric Elkin wanted to know why no one was picking up the phone when he called the city phone line to make a COVID-19 test appointment. What he got instead was an accusation by the deputy city manager.
It's not a matter of the number not being answered. It's a matter of demand on that number. And so I just want to be careful about the way that this is presented. And I also really am going to ask you to please not sow fear in the community and make people believe that they don't have options, because they do. It's incumbent upon all of us right now to communicate proper information and making sure that people are getting out and being taken care of, because the last thing we need to do is to give people half information.
Tracy, respectfully, I'm not sowing.
Planning your Social Security retirement is something we all think about. It is important you are well informed on all of your options. Your Medicare coverage is imperative for your health. Let Ramos Health Plans guide you through it all. We have licensed agents ready to assist you. Are you new to Medicare, or do you have questions about your coverage? We can do enrollments electronically or over the phone. When you have Medicare, you have options. Let one of our virtual agents help you with your enrollment today. Don't let social distancing stop you from your benefits. Call Ramos Health Plans at 626-6137.
I'm Carla Griffin. During this period of uncertainty, many people in our community have reached out to Watson and Griffin for answers. We have made accommodations to start consultations over the phone. If you have any questions about your financial future, please call us. We're here to help.
Where news comes first. This is ABC-7 Extra.
Good evening, I'm Saul Saenz, and this is ABC-7 Extra. COVID-19 cases are reaching higher than expected levels as restrictions in Texas were lifted. Here in El Paso, we're seeing triple-digit increases of positive cases on a daily basis. And sadly, the city is also reporting an increase in deaths. The city is increasing its testing sites to try to test as many El Pasoans as possible. ABC-7 learned from viewers they're having to jump through hoops to try to get tested, sometimes waiting long periods of time on the phone just to get an appointment. Tonight, we talked to El Paso's fire chief, who also oversees a coordination of COVID-19 test locations. We'll also talk to the city and county's health authority to see how testing has helped identify cases in the borderland. ABC-7's I-team uncovered difficulties in trying to get tested for COVID-19. ABC-7 anchor Eric Elkin called the city's appointment line multiple times. But just like our viewers, he was unable to make an appointment, much less talk to a person. So Eric shared those concerns with city officials in a special report seen only on ABC-7.
Our average daily testing rate over the past 2 weeks has declined approximately 21%. And this is a concern because it is an illustration of the fact that although there is more testing now available free and open to anyone in our community who wants to have it.
That was last Monday, June 22nd. After ABC-7 reported this trend, your comments followed quickly. One viewer writing, quote, "If they didn't require an appointment, I'm sure more people would show up to get tested. It was like doing backflips to try and get in," end quote. While there are numerous testing sites, ABC-7 received several complaints about the city's drive-through testing option. This is the only drive-through testing site operated by the City of El Paso and the Department of Public Health. But the address here is not advertised to the general public because, as you can see, an appointment is required first. But making that appointment is proving to be the real challenge. So I put the city's appointment line to the test, the first you see on the city's COVID-19 resource website, epstrong.org. I logged each call attempt and time, beginning with 2 tries on the afternoon of Wednesday, June 24th, then twice on June 25th, 2 more times Friday the 26th, and twice Saturday, June 27th, once in the morning and the other in the afternoon. And this past Monday, the most persistent attempt, 6 calls between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., then 3 more times on Tuesday. In total, 17 calls, 0 answers.
Thank you for calling the appointment line for COVID-19 drive-through collection site.
Instead, an automated message asking me to
please call back.
We are addressing the issues. We're aware of them. I'm not going to tell you that we're not concerned about it, but what I will tell you is we are addressing that. So we're adding staff to that telephone number.
A city spokesperson tells me right now that phone line is staffed by an average of 6 to 9 people over the 60 hours of operation weekly. El Paso Fire Chief Mario D'Agostino says since the recent spike with more than 1,500 new cases in the county over the last week and a half, the demand for testing is up 60%.
So it's not a matter of the number not being answered. It's a matter of that there has been such a huge demand on that number.
Well, in my experience, my phone call is not being answered answered. In the experience of our viewers, the phone call is not being answered, and there's no option for them to leave a voicemail and get a call back. They have to keep trying and trying and trying again. So what people are telling us is it is wearing them out to the point that they are giving up.
To that, I'd like to bring up the fact that, you know, we've seen that 60% increase. We are adjusting how we do business, and we'll improve on that order. And so we want them to take their time, make the call. Don't give up. We'll improve the system. We'll improve the method to get through.
Joining us now is Fire Chief Mario D'Agostino. Chief D'Agostino is one of the people in charge of the city COVID-19 testing sites. And also joining us is ABC-7 anchor Eric Elkin. He joins us from the studio. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Chief D'Agostino, I was able to get through once to one of those call lines. I know that Eric Elkin tried several times, but he was unsuccessful. Are there any changes that have been made since earlier in the week to free up some of those lines so people can call in and get tested, or at least set up an appointment?
Yes, so they've added several more lines. They're in the process of adding it in so we can have more staff available to answer phones. You know, a lot of this is based on the 60% increase in testing demand that we've seen over the past 2 weeks. So while it's inconvenient that the lines get full, I ask people not to give up because of the importance to get tested.
Eric, I want to bring you in, and you also have been hearing from our viewers that they're having a hard time getting through even now, correct?
Yeah, that's what started this whole story, of course, back on June 22nd when it was presented to council that the testing rate had dropped. As the chief just mentioned a moment ago, since that, obviously, the testing demand has increased 60%. So you can imagine how many more people are calling into this line. But since we first reported on this story, I've had several more people reach out to me saying that they've still been experiencing the same difficulties in calling that number and trying to get through to someone. I did want to highlight, though, that we presented, obviously, a lot of other options that are available in terms of people getting testing, that new online appointment system at the state level with the Texas Military Department, with all the other sites at the rec centers that are available as well. So there are other options, and we wanted to emphasize that, but we are still hearing some of those similar experiences with that specific city drive-through number.
Chief, you added some more people working the phone lines, but I understand that you're also adding more testing sites. Are you adding more people in general? Say, for instance, are you bringing in some of the furloughed employees to help you all out with this?
You know, we haven't pulled them in for testing purposes yet. We are pulling those people in. We are hiring them on as contact tracers. So we are using them in some of that aspect, but we're looking at expanding our testing platform as well. And so that'll be bringing people from all over in so we can assist and set up additional sites. We're also looking at this point in time if we can get an online scheduling system for the city as well for that city drive-through line, the DPH drive-through, so that way we can ease some of that phone line burden where people can log in online.
Okay, well, we're going to take a real quick break, and we'll bring you back in. You're watching ABC-7 Extra. When we come back, a city official accuses Eric of trying to sow fear in the community. A testy exchange you won't want to miss. You're watching ABC-7 Extra, where news comes first.
Sometimes it's as if the universe wants everything to work out. Like getting a new or used car with no payments for 90 days. When the planets align, it's the right time. Get pre-approved for a low-rate GECU auto loan today.
Happy presents a spicy Western. Western with kick. The new spicy Western bacon cheeseburger at Carl's Jr. Feed your happy.
When you're on the go, watch ABC-7 newscasts on the KVIA News app. You never need to miss the latest important updates about coronavirus on the borderland. Download the KVIA News app at the App Store, Google Play, or kvia.com.
Get the app, get the alert.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Eric Elkin wanted to know why no one was picking up the phone when he called the city phone line to make a COVID-19 test appointment. What he got instead was an accusation by the deputy city manager.
It's not a matter of the number not being answered. It's a matter of that there has been such a huge demand on that number. And so I just want to be careful about the way that this is presented. And I also really am going to ask you to please not sow fear in the community and make people believe that they don't have options, because they do. It's incumbent upon all of us right now to communicate proper information and making sure that people are getting out and being taken care of, because the last thing we need to do is to give people half information.
Tracy, respectfully, I'm not sowing fear in the community. I am taking viewers' concerns because they are calling that number, and I myself called that number 16 times and no one answered. I know you're saying that no one. You're saying that no one answered. Excuse me, but hold on. You're saying that no one. Right, and that's the heart of this story that I'm trying to get to. Is you're trying to tell me that the phone's not being answered, that saying that it's not answered is incorrect. Well, in my experience, my phone call is not being answered. In the experience of our viewers, the phone call is not being answered, and there's no option for them to leave a voicemail and get a call back. They have to keep trying and trying and trying again. So what people are telling us is it is wearing them out to the point that they are giving up.
I also want to welcome back to ABC-7 Extra Fire Chief Mario D'Agostino. Mario D'Agostino is also in charge of people in charge of COVID-19 testing sites here in the city. Also joining us is ABC-7 anchor Eric Elkin, joining us in the studio. Chief, your reaction to the way that Tracy Jerome, Deputy City Chief, reacted and pretty much said that we were sowing fear. Are we sowing fear in trying to help folks get tested?
I didn't hear what you just played right now. I was part of the conversation the other day, so this is taking it from that standpoint. Yeah, taking it from that standpoint. The fear that she was describing was the fact that it wasn't worth trying to call. That's the way it was coming across. And I think she was trying to just be clear with we don't want people to be fearful. We don't want them to not call. We want people to maintain their diligence and get in for a scheduled appointment. Right now, we're seeing over 20% of the positive cases coming back asymptomatic. And so that means they have no symptoms whatsoever. It means they're out and about in the community. If they don't know that they're positive, they have no reason to isolate. So I think I know that's what she was meant when she gave that statement, was the fact is yes, the lines may be busy. Yes, it might take some time to get through, but don't give up. Please do your due diligence. If you feel like you need to get tested, but don't let a delayed phone line or inability to get through on your first try deter you from that.
Eric, let me bring you back in, and you recall that conversation that you had with Tracy Jerome. You were not trying to sow fear. You were just letting them know, look, we need to do something, correct?
Yeah, and that's the point I was trying to make is we are certainly not trying to sow fear. We'll never try to sow fear. I know the city is urging everyone to get tested, and that's why it's made available to everyone, whether they have symptoms or they don't, especially to the point that Chief made about 20% of people being asymptomatic, and that's important to figure out who those people are. So what we really wanted to bring to the table and why this all started is because we had people reach out to us saying that it's been a challenge, and they were specifically pointing towards this phone line. And so then we did our own due diligence to make sure that what people were saying was actually what we experienced as well, which is why we showcased over the course of 6 days those 17 call attempts that we made to try and get in touch with someone, and we weren't able to get in touch with anyone during that time. The phone was never answered by anyone, and I never suggested that means that the operators would be ignoring people. It just obviously highlights the fact that they are overwhelmed because of the increase in demand. But it's important, we felt, to tell this story because we wanted to bring it to the city's attention. We wanted to make sure that they're aware of the challenges that people are experiencing, because one of the comments I also got from a viewer is there's no option to leave a voicemail, so there's no way to call to leave that voicemail and get a call back. It's incumbent upon the person trying to get tested to continue calling back, and they even made other attempts to contact the city through email and through calling lines directly that they said weren't answered as well. So they came to us as an avenue to try and get to the city, and so we tried to take their message to the city so that we could see what is being done to address the problem.
Chief D'Agostino, has at least, at the very least, our investigative report, has it at least triggered conversation within the city so that you can all at least try to do something different, maybe have a way to leave a message, or perhaps do something entirely different other than just having that phone line? Are you all talking about this more?
Yes. Are we discussing it more? Yes, we are. We've been planning for this, and it caught us this week, and we have some plans in place where hopefully we can get that back up and running early next week, where we have more capacity. So while we do appreciate that part, we do appreciate the airplay as well, because like I said, we're 60% more people getting tested than we were 2 weeks ago, and that's the positive thing. The inconvenience is a distraction, and it's understood, and we're working diligently to get that fixed. Like I said, we're looking at online registrations, additional phone lines. So we're working on all those aspects to get it through. But the real priority here is just making sure people get tested. Once you get tested, if you find out that you're positive, you need to quarantine. You need to isolate yourself. You're going to get a call from our epidemiologist team, our contact tracers. And with that, you need to be open and honest with them. And, we're looking just for simple questions. Have you been out of the city? Have you been on vacation? Have you traveled? Have you been with anyone who's been traveling? Do you have any symptoms? Have you been at work? Where do you work at? How many possible people have you been close to since you got symptoms? Those are the important things that we need to do, because as a community, in order to keep moving forward and keep opening up our community in a safe and responsible manner, we're going to need to stop the spread.
Chief.
And seeing the spread climb over the last few days, this is what we're going to have to focus on.
Chief, you can acknowledge at the very least that the only way to get answers to those questions is if they can talk to someone. If they call, no one picks up, or can't even leave a message, then there's absolutely no way that you can have that exchange and get that vital information, because it is, I can understand, vital information that the city's trying to get. However, if they can't get a hold of anyone, you can't get that information. So is there at least a way, or will you come up with a way that they can leave a message, a name, and phone number for y'all to call back?
That's part of the new build-out. That's part of getting the additional lines, the additional IT capabilities on board, as well as the online registration. That'll be part of the system so that we can offer more options to people, where they can leave a message or sign up online or via email. However that looks like, that's where we're pushing for to get up and running.
Okay. Eric, in your case, were you able to ever at least talk to a person that you can say, look, this is who I am, this is my phone number, can you call me back? How helpful would something like that be?
Well, I think I'll speak for a lot of our viewers too. I think that's what part of the biggest problem that they had was, again, the burden is on them to continue calling back, and depending on someone's schedule, that may be easier for someone versus other people. They may only have a small window within that time or during their day to be able to make that call and try to keep calling back. So I think being able to provide that voicemail and leave that phone number that they can get a call back, at least that takes some of the burden off of them. So I think that would be tremendously helpful for people. But again, I do want to also emphasize what we did the other night as well, is this isn't the only option when it comes to testing. And I know that was important to the chief and as well as the deputy city manager, Tracy Jerome, to emphasize that this isn't the only option to get tested here in El Paso. It's just this is the line that we've received the most feedback from in terms of having difficulties and challenges. So that is all laid out there on epstrong.org. If you click on that testing tab, we highlighted that the other night in our newscast, and we have heard some success about the new online appointment system that has been set up by the Texas Military Department. Our own Stephanie Valle was able to go through those list of questions, make the appointment for the very next morning. So that was a very successful opportunity that she had to be able to get tested.
Thanks, Eric. And also, I want to thank you, Chief Mario D'Agostino, for taking time to talk to us this Sunday evening. When we come back, we'll be joined by the City and County Health Authority, Dr. Xtra. We'll be right back.
Because your home is your castle, you shouldn't let just anyone paint it. That's why El Paso Paint Kings follows a 7-step program to protect and beautify your home. By carefully inspecting it from the foundation to the roof, we'll know exactly what needs to be done. And right now, take advantage of our spring special, starting as low as $29.99. You'll appreciate how we pay attention to all the details, and we use only the highest quality of paint and materials, and we always make sure we leave the job site clean. When experience matters, call El Paso Paint Kings, where we treat your home like our home. Call now.
Our dealers are ready, and with online options available, you can shop our best offers any way you choose. The Acura Summer of Performance event. Don't miss it.
Visit Fox Acura of El Paso for attractive offers on the RDX.
This 4th of July, there are savings throughout the store to make this the best time to get your great night's sleep. Save up to $800 store-wide. Save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic Breeze adjustable sets. Plus, if you're looking for adjustable sleep, then Mattress Firm is your place. 20 models under just $15.99. Plus, for a limited time, get your free adjustable base with purchase. Mattress Firm's your mattress headquarters for 23 years.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
As a former assistant district attorney and 20 years of experience and success in criminal law, I will bring justice and transparency to office. I will establish a public integrity unit to investigate public corruption and wrongful conviction cases. With your vote, we can reform justice and prevent cases like Daniel Villegas from happening again. It's time, El Paso.
Paid for by the campaign of Ivan Rosales for district attorney.
Congratulations to Mauricio Casillas for winning first place in the Texas Associated Press Awards for specialty or beat reporting on U.S.-Mexico border issues. That's the second year in a row Mauricio has won first place in this category.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Joining us now is the County and City Health Authority, Dr. Hector Carranza, as well as Eric Elkin, ABC-7 anchor Eric Elkin. Gentlemen, thank you so much for this third and final segment of ABC-7 Extra. Doctor, I'll start with you. How vital is it for the city to have some sort of improved testing method so that folks can actually call in, get the information, and get tested?
Well, the testing is extremely important, and the way that people can get tested has been shown to many people in different ways. One is that they can call in some of the numbers that we put in the press releases. The other way is by logging onto the website and looking to see which testing site is closer to them and making the appointment. Also, to make it a lot easier for people, there is some places where you can just walk in.
Do you believe, based on everything that we've been seeing, everything that we've been hearing, especially from our viewers, that we're not doing a good job of testing everyone who wants to get tested?
Well, we have been able to ramp up and be very aggressive with the testing that we have been doing. We want the people to come, get tested with or without symptoms, because if somebody feels that they've been exposed, they should come, make the appointment, or walk in and get tested. So we've been able to bring the testing to the outskirts of the county. We've been able to bring the testing to those colonias or neighborhoods where the people were having trouble getting transportation. And that's the way that we've been able to improve drastically the testing that we have been doing.
Eric, let me bring you in, Eric Elkin. Is there anything that you believe that the doctor should know, because we weren't able to talk to him initially, about how it is that they can improve their testing?
Well, the feedback we got from a lot of viewers was the fact that that city drive-through site, which isn't advertised, the address isn't advertised because you don't get it until you make an appointment. We've gotten so many people, both before the story aired earlier this week as well as since, that are not able to get through that line. And that is the first number that shows up on epstrong.org when you click on testing. That is the first number that shows up. And then the next testing site that shows up after that is Texas Military Department site, which I think may actually detract some people from thinking that they can go to that because of the verbiage of it. It is important to note that people can go to that site, and also to the point that Dr. Carranza just mentioned, another thing that actually kind of surprised me since this story aired is a lot of people are still saying, are surprised by the fact that people without symptoms can get tested, which I don't think is for any lack of on our part, telling people that, on the city's part, the Department of Public Health's part. I think it's important to note that people can get tested with or without symptoms, and it's important, given that 20% asymptomatic return rate, for people who don't have symptoms to get tested.
Doctor, has the city sought your guidance or your advice on how they can improve these phone lines and how people can get tested? Have they sought your advice, and what have you told them?
Well, definitely there's always room for improvement, and this feedback that we're getting from Mr. Elkin can help us tremendously, making
bigger effort and have the testing more accessible to the people. We want the people to get tested, and especially right now that we've seen a large increase and a large spike in the cases. So we want to continue seeing that, but also one of the most important things that people need to know, and it's important that we send that message as well through your channel, is that if people get tested because they're afraid that they were exposed or because they feel symptoms, they do need to remain at home. Isolation and quarantine is extremely important, and if you get tested, please remain at home. Please take care of your loved ones, and if anybody is sick in the household, the whole household needs to stay home.
Doctor, but how do we get that message across when they can't even leave a message? How can you let the city know that this needs to improve? I mean, if people are calling and calling and calling and can't get through, how do you get the message across and letting people know you need to get tested?
Well, if they can call and they don't have an answer, that's a way that we can definitely go back, look at the ways that we can improve and make it happen.
Yeah. Are you getting that message across to the city that we need to get these people tested? We need a way for them to leave a message?
We work together with the city, with the county, and we're hoping that we can improve all this process so we can continue getting the people tested.
Okay, Dr. Hector Ocaranza, the Health Authority for the City and County. Eric Elkin, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. This has been ABC 7 Extra. Thank you for joining us. Good night y buenas noches.